Why are some YouTube automation channels able to make tens of thousands of dollars per month while others are struggling to even gain some traction? Now, after 4 years of successfully running YouTube automation channels, I can confidently say that making $3,000 to $1,000 per month actually isn't that hard if you follow these 7 strategies outlined in this video, so you don't end up like the other 99% of people who are trying YouTube automation and are failing. These are the tactics that are going to take you from losing money to having a profitable YouTube automation channel. Now, one of the primary reasons why people don't succeed with YouTube automation is because they actually don't know where or how to get started. Now, one of the primary reasons why people don't succeed with YouTube automation is because they get stuck in this state called analysis paralysis. Now, analysis paralysis basically just means being overloaded with too much information to the point where you actually don't even know where to get started. So it kind of contradicts itself, in which you're learning so much information from YouTube, and because of all this information hitting you all at once, it kind of leaves you just actionless, and basically you don't know where to begin. From my experience to talking with other individuals as well, taking the leap and actually getting started with YouTube automation is one of the hardest things to actually do. Doing something as simple as publishing or creating your first video is an extremely effective first step that puts you ahead of everyone who is still stuck in that state of analysis paralysis. If you take the leap and actually get started and actually publish your first video on your YouTube automation channel, you're going to be ahead of the people who are still stuck in that analysis paralysis phase. And one thing I want to mention is that with publishing all of these videos, you're going to learn a lot more from what works and what doesn't work when you hit the publish button, rather than watching all these YouTube videos teaching YouTube automation. My recommendation is to get your first video created and get it published, so again, you can learn from what works and what doesn't work. Now, the second issue at hand is the term called competition on YouTube. Now, when it comes to competition with YouTube automation, it's not like Google where everyone's fighting for the first search result on a search inquiry. The good thing about YouTube is that your competition can actually help you. With your competitor videos, let's pretend that your competitor is within the sports niche and you're in the sports niche as well. There's a possibility that their sports videos may even recommend your sports videos. The great thing about YouTube is that there are multiple different traffic sources for your videos to be found. You have the search bar, you have the home page, you have the suggested bar, you have end screens. There are multiple different ways for your video to be found, and some of those ways are going to be from your competitor videos recommending your videos on their own videos. Now, no matter what niche you're going to go into, there are going to be other channels like you, so don't be discouraged about this terminology called competition on YouTube, because in a sense, your competition can actually help you. But don't get me wrong, competition, there is a sense of competition when it comes to your videos fighting for the views against your competitor videos. So this leads me to strategy number 3, in which you've got to carve a spot out for yourself with this term called leveraged advantage. Now, leveraged advantage means just simply asking yourself, what is something that you know better than the average person, and utilize that advantage to kind of come up with better ideas, better topics, and better thumbnails for your videos. I truly believe that everyone has some sort of leverage advantage when it comes to YouTube. Hopefully you go into a niche and where you can utilize your leverage advantage, and again, carve out a unique spot for yourself that differentiates yourself from your competitors' videos. When you utilize this thing called leverage advantage, again, you're able to come up with unique ideas that you know more better than the average person. So when it comes to sports, maybe you're coming up with a lot more innovative sports topics and ideas that your competitors have not brought to the YouTube yet. Leverage advantage, it's a really unique thing to have, and make sure you have it aligned with what YouTube automation channel you're starting. And with this leverage advantage, you basically can have a better shot at your videos being found in the algorithm compared to your competitors. Now, the fourth strategy you should be following is in regards to the consistency of posts. With consistency of posts, there's no hard set rule that says you have to post every other day. There's no hard set rule that says you have to post every single day. When it comes to the consistency of posts on your YouTube automation channel, you simply just have to be consistent. And when it comes to the frequency, this aligns with how much capital you have and how many ideas you can actually realistically come up. If you can come up with 15 realistically good topics per month, then yes, aim to post every other day. If you can realistically come up with a really good idea every single day, then yes, come up with 30 video topics per day. This also has to align with how much capital you have though when it comes to starting YouTube automation channel. When it comes to investing in your YouTube automation channel, it's going to be a rough, rocky start when you're spending about 100 to 150 bucks per video and those videos ultimately flop. So the goal here is to reduce your costs as much as possible while still maintaining a nice consistency of posts of good, fresh new ideas that you think your YouTube audience would want to watch. I have channels that post once a week, I have channels that post every other day, and I also have channels that post daily. This honestly depends on how many ideas can I come up with within that specific niche. I have channels that post only once a week, and the reason that is because I can only realistically come up with one good video topic per week. In contrast, channels in which I'm able to post daily, I can realistically come up with a good video topic, hopefully every single day. So with consistency of posts, it's not about necessarily the frequency, but just being consistent and actually adhering to a schedule, which will make you accountable for how often you post on your YouTube automation channel, is one of the best strategies that you can be following. Now, strategy number 5 is don't quit too early. Now, back in the summer of 2023, I actually hopped on calls and left ad postings in multiple Facebook groups, on Discord, even on my own YouTube channel, asking to interview people who are starting with YouTube automation channel for free. So with these calls, it was basically like a 15 to 30 minute consultation that we hopped on. And one of the questions I always asked them was, what is the reason why you think your YouTube automation channel isn't working? And with these interview questions and their answers that they were giving me, one of the common patterns that I've seen people run into is that they quit their YouTube automation channels way too early. The thing with YouTube automation is that if you just go for a rock solid year of coming up with good ideas, good topics, good thumbnails, and you are just consistent with posts, you are bound to see results. These results may be an increased amount of views, your channel getting monetized, and hopefully becoming profitable on your YouTube automation channel. But from these interviews that I ran back in the summer of 2023, there were a lot of people who were just quitting way too early. They were quitting before 30 videos. They were quitting before 10 videos. They were even quitting before they even had 3 videos published. So with this, don't quit too early. YouTube, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, okay? We're looking to do YouTube automation 1 year, 5 years, 10 years down the road. And with it, you're gonna have a really big backlog of YouTube videos. One thing I wanna mention is that sometimes when you publish a video on YouTube, it's not your fault that your video doesn't work. It might just be that YouTube needs time to recommend your video to the right audience. And this is a term I like to call breathing room. There needs to be breathing room for your video sometimes, in which you may have the best possible title and you may have the best possible thumbnail. Now it's just up to YouTube to recommend your video to the right audience, and that's gonna take time. I've had videos go viral well over 400 days later. I've had multiple videos go viral well over 1 year later. So this just goes to show that sometimes it's not your fault that a video doesn't work. If a video doesn't work, let it sit, build that backlog, and hopefully one day your YouTube will actually recommend your video to the right audience. Now, strategy number 6 is tied to strategy number 5, and reason being is that part of the reason why people quit too early is because they don't have their systems in place. Systems are absolutely huge when it comes to YouTube automation and making sure that everyone on your team works flawlessly together. And so one of the best ways to actually implement a system within your YouTube automation team and channel is to use a project management board like Taskforce. So Taskforce is basically an end-to-end management tool for video creation, and my team and I designed it specifically for people to run YouTube automation channels. And so I've come from a background of using Trello, Asana, Google Sheets, Zapier, and with Taskforce, it's a very, very streamlined process when it comes to creating your videos on this project management tool. So first, you just got to invite your team, then you add your topics, and then the videos get created by your team. So here at taskforce.co, you can actually read what Taskforce is all about. It's basically the ultimate online task management tool designed specifically for faceless YouTubers or cash cow channels or YouTube automation channels. So there is a free plan. Do check it down below as in the free link in the description. These are all the things that it can do. It can track payments. It can effortlessly create videos. There's a support team, and it's basically just going to boost productivity and reduce costs when it comes to managing your team. So again, having systems in place is one of the best ways to grow your YouTube automation automation channel, and especially if you're just in the beginning stages, once you have your systems in place at the beginning stages, such as using a project management board to have your team work on, it's just going to make the longevity of your YouTube automation journey a lot easier. Now, the seventh strategy to follow when it comes to running your YouTube automation channel is repackaging correctly. Now, repackaging refers to the term in which if you imagine that your YouTube video is the actual insides of a package, the actual outer wrappings of the package are your title and thumbnail. Now, when it comes to repackaging your videos, there's two things that I really try to preach people to doing. The first thing is in regards to generating a good title. The titling of your video is part of the repackaging process. Titling comes from being unique on YouTube. It comes from being the only topic titled that way on YouTube. It comes from provoking emotions on your audience members on YouTube. Titling, there's multiple different ways and strategies to title your videos. I sometimes follow titling structures and frameworks called like the feud framework, which is when you put two parties against each other. There's also a shocking framework when you basically just title your video something that's shocking to your audience. And there's also a why framework in which you basically explain why something happens within the title of your video. Now, the second part to the repackaging process is in regards to your thumbnail. With thumbnails, there are so many different tips and strategies when it comes to thumbnails, but one general guideline that I give for my thumbnail designers is that it's not about how complex the thumbnail is, but rather the idea behind the thumbnail. So sometimes I've had very simple YouTube thumbnail ideas go viral, even though they were the simplest of designs. But what mattered more is the idea behind the thumbnail. So with a thumbnail, follow this general guideline, which is what I like to call the 3-point thumbnail concept, in which if there's more than 3 major points that your eyes are drawn to when it comes to looking at a thumbnail, then it's probably too distracting. So what you want to do is that make sure that there's no more than 3 major points within your thumbnail. Major points within a thumbnail consists of eyes. So if there's more than 3 people, it's too distracting. Eyes are a major point. Words on your thumbnail are a major point, so make sure there's not too many words. Arrows are basically very different colored objects are also another major point. So with a combination of all these elements, just make sure that there's no more than 3 major points within your thumbnail. Now, I showed you these strategies because I've been in the space for some time now, and I truly believe that with the 7 strategies outlined above, you can start running a successful YouTube automation channel. This business isn't reserved for anyone specific, but rather it's reserved for those who actually take the time to process and learn how to do YouTube automation correctly. Now, if you want to see what I would do if I were to start YouTube automation all over again, make sure to watch this video next.